creating unique content, creating unique content. And we want to focus on creating unique content with AI. Now, AI content depends on putting in unique requests or prompts. And that's regardless of what software you use. So whatever you put in, if it's unique, you're going to expect to be able to get unique results back from it. And so you've got to make sure that what you're putting in is just not going to be something that is easily found on the internet, because then the output's going to be something, again, that's easily found on the internet. So AI works well when you provide something unique to it. And what AI platforms like Jarvis.ai do is they make the content creation process faster, right? So that's really what it's doing. It is helping you to speed up the process. It's not necessarily going to help you to be super unique, but you want to make sure that at minimum, you're putting something in there that's going to give it something to work with. So if you're creating something that is basically already there, it's not going to give you a big impact. So again, going and approaching the AI, make sure that what you're giving it is going to be something like nothing else that it has seen. And when you are basically, let's say, using stuff that's already on the internet in terms of what you're feeding it, what you're basically then doing is you're competing on the basis of speed. So, if you're going to talk, let's say, about Facebook ads, well, there's plenty of stuff out there on Facebook ads unless you've got some unique take on it. And basically, when you're creating content, let's say on Facebook ads, the AI is going to go out on the internet. It's going to scour it. It's going to use its artificial intelligence to put something together that's going to be unique. But again, because that knowledge is already out there, the domain is already out there, what you're basically doing is you're basically trying to compete on the basis of getting your content out there and figuring out the algorithm. And that's not necessarily the best use of your AI content. In the long run, what you're basically doing when you're focusing on, let's say, some kind of algorithm, or you're focusing on trying to beat someone in YouTube or trying to beat someone in Google or even on Facebook, you are fundamentally putting your business in somebody else's hands. And you want to use the AI in another direction. You want to be able to use the AI, again, to work faster so that your business is going to be more under your own control. And so basically, always amplify what's unique about your business. Always amplify what's unique about the products and services that you are selling. If you can do that and feed the AI with that kind of content, you're going to be able to get a good result from the content. So again, putting the content into the AI, that's not necessarily a big secret. It can help you to work faster. It can help you to produce things that are already out there. What you can really leverage is its ability to take something that it doesn't really fully know about and use the rest of that knowledge and domain in order to create something great for what it is that you're going to be looking at. So one of the ways in which you create that unique content to put into AI is you seek to solve unique problems. And that way, what you're doing by default is you're really finding a way to kind of put something in there that it has to really give you information that was not going to look like other information that people have available. So start with a unique direction. And anytime you're going to be directing towards solving something that there isn't a whole lot of information about, you're going to be using the AI at its highest and best use. And so what you're doing is you're creating products that the market has already said they want. So the market has said they want these products because they're trying to solve something that they cannot solve, or they have not solved. And there's just not a lot out there about that specific problem. That's where you want to be, and that's where you want to be using the AI and leveraging it and what it really does in order to give you a boost. It works particularly well in the MMO and business opportunity space. So if that's where you're selling your products and services or building influence, that really works well if you can find something that the market is already talking about, find out what the market really wants to solve, and then going to your AI and going to your content creation machine to try to determine how you can put something together in order to solve this unique problem. And it works because the market's already proven that that's what it says it wants. So you're not just going to the market with anything. You're not just going to the market with something that you put together or something that's already out there. You're going to the market based on the fact that you know that it's already looking for something, it's already looking for some solution that it wants to solve. Now, there are always going to be problems that the market doesn't know it has. And those are also good problems for you to be able to solve. In fact, those are going to be the most lucrative ones for you to be able to solve. If you can figure out what it is that the market cannot solve or the question it knows the question that it doesn't know it has yet, this is where you're going to be able to create those unique products and services based on unique problems. Now, if the market doesn't know it has a problem, then the market doesn't know about the solution. So again, what you're looking for is you're trying to determine what is it that the market will buy, what is it that it doesn't know it has or should it know, and then how can you propose the solution in some kind of information product. The only thing that you can put together is you are going to have to figure out how to solve these problems, and sometimes this is going to come in the form of you being able to experiment and determine what it is that the market is really looking for. One way to do this, and one way to really use this method, one way to really use the content you're going to be getting to solve these unique problems is to build your audience around solving the problem. So in other words, you don't have to go to the audience and say, you know everything already. You're basically going to go to the audience and you're going to build your audience by trying to solve these unique problems. So in other words, you don't know the answer before you get started. You don't know the answer before you start asking people to opt in. You don't know the answer before you ask people to follow you because you're going to discover this on the way. You're solving a unique problem. You're going to develop solutions and you're asking the audience to follow you as you seek to figure out what the answer is. And basically, one of the ways that you do that is you're going to be documenting this publicly or privately. Whether you choose to make it available on some kind of blog or you make it available in the video course, but you can also document privately. You are bringing people and building your audience on the basis of something that you're trying to solve that, again, there is no solution for currently. The most important aspect is that it's got to be real. So if you know that it's a real issue that people in your market or your niche, they are having, and you are going out and you are asking the audience to watch you as you seek to find the answer, you can build an audience that way. The only thing about this is that it's got to be a real problem. So it can't be something that's commonly talked about on YouTube or commonly talked about on, some of the social media groups. You've got to try to find that area where people know they've got this problem, and yet it's not really discussed because nobody really fully knows the answer and how to solve it. This is not going to be the revenue generating part. What you're trying to do is to build an audience, unless you decide to do it publicly and charge people to watch you over your shoulder. I mean, you can do that, right? There's certainly a way for you to be able to bring people on and bring people into a member area while you work this problem out. You typically do have to have a name in order to do that. What this does is it involves some kind of group interaction. And if you were to kind of do that, that's going to kind of detract from the experimentation process, because when you ask somebody for a fee in order to watch you, you kind of almost communicate that you know the answer already. So you probably want to do this in a way and build your audience probably in a way that you're not monetizing at this point. What's going to happen is that while you're undertaking this, while you're seeking out the answer, you're going to get some unique feedback. And that feedback's not going to be like anything else is going to be available on the internet. We're talking about content creation right now. And you're going to be getting this information in real time. The other thing, you've got to make sure that you synthesize the information so that it's just not going to be something that you're going to put into the AI just as is. You got to synthesize it so that it becomes something. So when you put it in, it actually does give you some results back that you can use in products and services. All of this unique synthesis that you're going to be doing from that information that you're getting or from that feedback that you're getting while people are following you, that's what you're going to use inside of the prompts for your AI platform. And what you're going to find is that the AI may not even know how to write about it. That's going to happen often when you've got something unique that you're trying to solve. When that happens, it's not going to be a bad thing. So it doesn't mean that because the AI doesn't quite know exactly how to write something that you can use in a product. What basically means is that you're probably tapping into some element of the market that hasn't been discussed yet. That's all that means. So again, some of this is going to be uncharted territory. All you've really got to do is make sure that you understand that, yes, this is a problem that the market wants to solve, and yes, it's a real problem, even though it doesn't really fully know what the solution is, and it doesn't really know how to ask about what that problem is going to be. You just know that it is based on your observation. And so you're attracting the right people to your list when you talk about these things, because these people are going to resonate with the fact that you're trying to solve something that, yeah, before they got attached to you, they didn't even know that there was a problem, but you were able to find it out and you were able to start teaching to that problem. When we do this, we have to create hyper unique products and services. So we are creating unique content, but we want to create hyper unique products and services. And there are always going to be time where you are going to be able to develop some new information product, and it's going to be based on the fact that you're paying attention to the market. And one of the ways that you do this, and you do this effectively, is to put together a challenge. And a challenge doesn't mean that you already know the answers up front. A challenge is basically where you're going to get people to take some kind of action. And a lot of people really do value being able to take some kind of action. Now, you can't know nothing. You do have to have some knowledge of where it is that the challenge is going to go and where you're taking people, because you've got to guide them along the way. But taking people through a challenge is always going to be hyper unique. It's always going to be something that's not going to be like anything else that's going to be on the market. And so you're going to be building this product over time. So you don't really need a big sales presence. What you've got to do is you've got to be willing to be there with the people. And so for a while, again, while you're recording the course, while you're doing this challenge, you do have to be there for the people. And it's going to be based on what you're ultimately going to be selling, right? Whether you choose to do it paid or free, you want to be thinking about, well, what do I want to sell on the back end? What do I want to sell to people when you take people to the challenge? And so you got to get people and use their attention to get people to become affiliates. You've got to use this as a way to get people into your workshops if you're doing them. You've got to get people to become new customers. What you're basically doing is taking people through a challenge based on what you know you sell and based on the results you know people want to get. I suggest that you don't use a traditional challenge method when you do this. And what I suggest is what you're doing is you're really actually learning while you're teaching. Because again, you don't really fully know the answer when you get started. You're basically taking people on a journey with you. And so you're sharing with them the things that you were learning while you were on the way. Now, a lot of people do this in Facebook groups, but what ends up happening is people focus on the Facebook group itself, or they focus on the medium, when really, anytime you do a challenge, it's not about the group. It's about making sure that people are understanding what it is you're trying to solve. So please do not make the mistake of focusing on the medium, right? Well, it's like a Facebook group or a membership site or any of those things. You focus on the problem that people are trying to solve. Every time you prepare a discussion for your followers, you're also learning. You can do that, and you can do your discussion in a blog or a podcast or video content if you're doing it free. You can do it in your social media postings. Again, what you're doing is you're getting people to follow you on a regular basis. You can do it inside of your information products. It doesn't really matter how you do it. What you're basically doing is you are bringing people along for the ride, and you are helping them to solve a problem by learning how to solve it as you go. I'll tell you why this works if you're new. So you don't have to be a seasoned veteran. And this actually works better if you're new, because you're taking your buyers on a journey and they almost feel like a peer with you. And what you're doing is you're building your list and your audience. You are discovering something, discovering the answer to a problem that people are having. And it's always going to be more interesting than just training. You may not have the authority yet to start training when you're new. But it's always going to be interesting if you're trying to go on a journey to figure out what the answer is, again, in your niche, about something that people don't know the answer to and don't really even fully know all the questions they should be asking. And you're upfront about this. So when you tell people and you get them to opt in, or you tell people to come to your workshop, or you tell people, well, look, we're not really exactly sure what we're going to find. We are on a journey to figure this out. You don't have to use those exact words. That's basically what you're doing. You're bringing people along for the ride to help them figure out something that they don't know the answer to. And so people can really see themselves in a person that states this up front. So they can really see more in you than they can see, in people that, let's say, they're more accomplished, right? Because you might feel like, well, man, I'm not really accomplished. I don't really have the authority to start a workshop. But often people feel they can trust someone who will be upfront with them about the fact that, look, I don't know all the answers to this. We're just going to figure out what exactly to do. And you are demonstrating that on a regular basis when you're doing your challenge or wherever it is. Now, there's always going to be a segment of the population that they don't want this, right? They want a surefire method. They want someone who knows what they're talking about. They want someone who's already been through it. They want certainty. And so there'll always be people that will not want to join a challenge. They don't want to take action. What they want is the certainty of knowing that something has been taught and they know that that's the right answer to what they have been trying to solve. So again, a challenge is not going to be magic. So it's not going to bring all this traffic and all these customers because there are always going to be people that just don't want to do a challenge. There are going to be people who don't want to do anything. What they'd rather do is to make the problem go away by purchasing a course, which is fine. And you may not be at the point at which you can propose a solution like that. What you've got to do is you've got to then go in the other direction and get people into action. So if you choose whatever your niche is, you can always enter a niche this way if you're new. So it doesn't matter what the niche is. If you enter with the expectation that what you're doing is you're going to take people on a journey, you will always be able to enter any niche that you want to using this way. And so basically, what are we doing here? We are trying to find an easy way to communicate and document what it is that we are doing. I mean, you can do a Facebook or a YouTube live, and I mean, all of those things are going to be fine if you do them. If people resonate with you on video, then go ahead and do that kind of thing. But if you don't like it when you start doing this, then don't do it if you're not going to do it all the time. What you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you're doing something where you are excited about it, and you are communicating what you're learning, and you're getting opt-ins. Right? Sales, signups for your workshop. Again, you should be bringing these people on a regular basis. Now, again, I would suggest that you do the challenge, for a short period of time. There's some people who do a 7-day challenge, or some people that do a 30-day challenge. Some people do a 7-day challenge once every quarter. However you do it, it should be pretty regular. And it should be regular enough so that people who missed it the first time, they can join you the second time, and then they can follow the challenge and be convinced that they need to opt into your list. Once you settle on whatever the most effective method is, whether it's going to be audio, whether it's going to be video, then you got to get rid of all the others. So if you figure out that this works best for you on video, then don't try to do audio. Don't try to do a blog. Don't try to do any way other than the way that works for you. And everybody's going to be different when it comes to communicating and documenting. Now, if you're doing some kind of, let's say, product snowball, you're releasing products on a regular basis, and you're already doing training, you probably don't have a lot of bandwidth to do something like this. And so if you're going to do this, then you're probably going to you want to suspend your regular content creation for the challenge. That's what I suggest that you do. And so make sure that you are recording your content, you're getting people into a place where they can go and monitor it, and that you are interacting with them as you go. Now, here's how we're going to monetize this. We're going to monetize this by creating what I call journey events. And we do that as part of using educational marketing. And I'm going to get into how you're going to use the AI to create these. but you do need to understand the foundation. These are going to be activities that are going to be too difficult to kind of be doing on a regular basis. And so what you're going to be doing is creating an event. It's going to be a one-time thing. And it doesn't matter how long the event is, right? It really depends on, the nature of what you're teaching. It depends on how you want to teach it and what you need to do in order to create a decent product to the audience that you are talking to. The goal is still going to be the same. You're going to create an event to discover something, and you're bringing people with you. And again, you don't know the answer at the beginning. The point of the product, point of the journey is to discover what the answer is. So the format, you've seen them before. A 7-day sprint, a 10-day implementation plan, a 48-hour weekend session, a 24-hour hackathon. However you want to do it, you are bringing people along and you're going to focus on a finite period of time. And by the end of that time, you're going to discover something and you're going to get people to take action. That's the key, to get people to take action with you, and you are doing it on screen in front of them. What matters is the participation with you. And so, yes, all of those things are probably things that you have seen before, but you do need and you can get help from the AI in order to help you to create them. And this is where the AI really will help you. So you want to use the AI in the educational module creation. So you can use Jasper AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the daily or the weekly or the regular lessons. One thing you want to do inside of Jasper is you want to use tone detector. And you want to get Jasper to kind of understand what your tone is. You want to get Jasper to understand how you communicate as best that you can. And so there's a tone detector in there where you can feed it your writing and you can allow Jasper to tell you, well, hey, this is your tone. And then anytime that you create content, and Jasper will often ask you what kind of voice you want to write in. You want to always write in the voice that is yours. So in other words, you don't want to use, sometimes it'll say, do you want it to be witty? Do you want it to be funny? You got to get Jasper to understand your voice. And then you've got to use that in order to put into any of the fields where you're being prompted for you to tell Jasper, hey, how do you want me to write this? There are also formats inside of Jasper called listicles. This is how you create the modules. Now you're going to have to feed it some of that unique information, as I said. Those listicles will give you what you need in order to narrate your PowerPoint or narrate your presentation or to put behind, or if you want to add something to it. But the basis of this, you want to create things that are going to be lists that have a point to them and that communicate something specific. And this is what the listicle portion does inside of the Jasper AI. You can also do this with a blog post. And a blog post is just almost like a listicle, but it basically has a beginning and an end to it. Now, you don't have to use the introduction and the conclusion, but basically, when you use Jasper in order to create a blog post, Jasper kind of knows how to create something that has a beginning and an end or a point to it. So you're trying to communicate something specific. When you do that, you can also use the video scripts inside of Jasper. So this is another way. So again, the thing about video scripts, blog posts, and listicles is the AI understands what you're trying to get it to do. It knows that you're trying to communicate information, but you have a point to it. You're trying to get to the end of something. And so you want to use these to your advantage. Video topics. So when you're trying to figure out what module ideas or what you need these video modules to cover, if you're stuck, as long as you give it context, as long as you've given it unique information at the very top of the process, you can get Jasper to help you with some of the video topics. You're going to take those video topics, you're going to feed it back into the listicles, you're going to feed those topics back into your blog post, you're going to feed those topics back into your video scripts. That's how you're going to use the Jasper AI. This is optional, and because there's an additional charge for this, so I'm not going to say that you have to do this. But one of the benefits of being able to use Jasper is to create royalty-free images that you don't have to get permission to use. And so you can do that by using the art module. And yes, it's going to cost you a little more, but you're going to be able to add in certain elements to every product that you're going to have. You're going to be able to add an image. So as of the recording of this session, the Jasper Art module is $20 extra. It may not always be there depending on when you're hearing this. It may not even be there now depending on when you're hearing this. What you've got to do is you got to kind of think about how you're going to create the image. And one of the things that you'll note is that, again, as of the recording of this video, that Canva also has a free engine. So if you don't want to use the Jasper engine, you don't have to use it. You can use the Canva free creation of AI art. Jasper also has what's called a content improver. So let's say that you read over what you have and you don't like it, or it doesn't sound the way you want it to sound, or it doesn't sound like it really is your voice. You can go through what Jasper has called a content improver. And so you want to use that when you're creating a module, because again, what's a module? You're just going to have it, you're going to have it narrated, and you're going to have it put into video form. You are doing this again because you're going to be selling, this as a unique product. Jasper also has a story guide, so you can put information in, because one of the things about creating products is you do have to have little elements where people can catch their breath. And they catch their breath when you tell a story. And so if you have something where people can catch their breath, they can have a story where they kind of get the meaning of what you're trying to communicate with them, that really does help your product. And Jasper does have something that you can use. Now, it does take some work to actually get a story that's going to be relative to what it is that you're trying to communicate, but Jasper does have it, and you can ask Jasper to do this. So basically, how do you use the AI in this sense when you're creating these educational modules? You're doing this so that you and your team can focus. That's what you're doing. So, whether or not you get a team member to do this, and I almost suggest that you do it yourself. If you are a solo business person, or unless you have a staff or a team, if you're the one creating the content, you're the one selling it, then I suggest you be the one, at least at the beginning, to understand how to use the AI to help you to create these products. Let's talk about what you're going to be upselling and cross-selling, and the economics of doing a challenge. Regardless of how you create it, they only work. This unique content you're creating, it only works if you're going to sell a higher ticket item on the back end. So again, even if you're charging people some minimal amount in order to become part of the challenge, it doesn't make sense for you to put all of this time in if you don't have something big on the back end for people to buy. And so what you're going to do is, now again, if you don't have a high ticket product, you can always bundle up your challenge. So if you've got 30 days of sessions, don't leave them out there for free. Take them off, bundle them up, and then sell the challenge to the people that actually took it and everybody else that comes through it. But regardless, it doesn't matter how you do it, you do need to have something that's going to be a higher ticket in order to justify the time, even if you get a lot of opt-ins. Right? It's good to get opt-ins when you're doing challenges. That's a great thing. Nothing wrong with that. But you took a lot of time away from generating income specifically. And so the way you get your time back is you're going to have to give people the opportunity to participate with you by buying something that's going to be in a larger chunk. So you've always got to be mindful of the back end when you do challenge-related products. You've got to be, because that's where you're going to get back the revenue for the time you spent. Make sure it's priced for value. So don't price it based on, well, I did 13 hours and 13 hours times my hourly rate. That's not the way you look at this. You got to look at things in the way that how does the market value what it is that you're trying to sell it, right? So think about the value. When you do this, one of the ways in which you increase your value is you make sure that your member area has everything relevant. So there shouldn't be any stone left unturned. If there's going to be an element of training that you're not going to be covered, make sure it's covered. Make sure that when people come to the member area, that they see the value, they can get it, they can get the training, and it's already there. Make sure that when you organize this upsell, right, because again, people are coming off your challenge, people are then going to pay a little more for this product or service, organize the content, right? Organize it for participation and consumption. The most important element to any course is going to be getting your customers to consume it. If they can't participate with you, get them to participate with the knowledge you're giving them and make sure they consume it. Again, I'm talking about this high-ticket item that you're going to be upselling or cross-selling once someone becomes part of your marketing funnel after a challenge. Now, this is just a benchmark. And so please do not charge anything less than $247 for your coaching. I've seen people go as low as $97 for a half an hour. I don't think that that's going to do justice, not going to justify the time that you're spending in getting those customers. A minimum, and it's just a benchmark, right? You can certainly charge more. You can certainly charge less. You can manipulate this. There's no magic to this number. $247 or $250 should probably be the minimum if you're going to do some kind of one-on-one or group coaching. Let's talk about promoting participation. What you're doing with this challenge-related product is going to be for engagement, and you're trying to get people to come with you and to do the action, right? That's what you're trying to get people to do. And so if they're doing the action and they are engaged with you, then you've really done your job in terms of bringing people into your marketing funnel. And these people are going to be more tied to you than others that did not go through the challenge. And so basically, you're going to try to get people to comment. What are they doing? What are they experiencing? You want to make sure that they're talking about these things in some place. Sometimes you can have people join, an online community. You can have it by doing the Q&A where the videos are posted, but you've got to get people talking about their participation. And, of course, you should be interacting with people. Interact with people when you're doing the live session. Interact with people after the live session, however you do it. Now, when you're doing this, right, when you're live on the session, you don't have to ask people to do anything at that point. It's your time to really demonstrate, right? When you get on the live call, they don't have to do anything on the live call, right? I mean, you can bring people on your live call, but you've got to demonstrate something. You got to demonstrate what you're learning so people can then go back, follow the steps, and do it do it themselves and to get some kind of results that you're already getting. Let's say you get stuck, right? And let's say that, you're at this point and, you're not really necessarily progressing. One thing you can do is you can get some kind of guest speaker to come in order to help the entire group. And that's a good way to break up the content when you are doing it. Now, finally, you're going to have to sell all this, right? You're going to have to sell it. And Jasper's excellent in giving you tools that you can use to create direct response. Right? And so basically, in your sales letter or in your sales presentation, this is going to be the proof of your theories. And so you've got to get the AI to basically tell the people that, hey, they need to become part of this so that they will then get benefit, but then also what you're doing is proving your theories. Now, there are some elements inside of Jasper to help you to write direct response copy. There's a headline creator. And this is something where you can use in order to get the right headline for your sales paper, for your sales letter, for your emails. You want to use this, especially if you've already, again, gone to the top of the process and you've created this unique content that you're going to be giving to your customer. Jasper has a bullet creator. So the kind of bullets that are going to go onto your sales page. You can do that inside of Jasper. You want to use these things. And also a testimonial starter. Now, if you don't have a place to keep your testimonials, you're going to have to give people a prompt. You're going to have to tell people kind of what to say. Jasper can help you with that. So again, remember, what are you trying to do with Jasper? You're trying to do some things that otherwise would take you forever to get them done. And you would then have to suffer through either having someone do it for you or just not having it done. There's a storytelling application, as we talked about. And they have what are called frameworks, right? This is kind of a unique perspective. If you know the marketing framework, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. So you're trying to get people to take action. And then before, after bridge, right? So again, I mean, all of these things are inside of Jasper to help you to create the direct response copy that you're going to need to use in order to sell this. So what are you trying to do, right? So if you want to try to make sure that all of it makes sense, you can always use David Fry's Bulletproof Sales Letter. You're just going to get that format, right? You're going to get that framework, and then you're going to use the AI in order to make sure that the content in your sales letter is going to work. But you use this framework in order to make sure that your entire sales letter is going to be correct. Okay, so there are any questions? Any questions about using the AI for this purpose? Any questions?